In this video, we will be talking about the beginner's guide to self-improvement. Before I get into the video, if you're someone who struggles with anything from weight loss to self-improvement, click the link in the description and follow me on Instagram and send me a DM and I will help you. So to get into this guide, understand two things. There are bad habits and there are good habits. Bad habits are easy to do because they don't require effort, discipline, and willpower, and they bring us pleasure. They make us feel good, causing us to chase that dopamine high over and over. Good habits are hard to do because of the exact opposite reason of bad habits. Good habits bring discomfort and pain and require discipline, willpower, and consistency to keep those habits alive. Good habits are doing things that are beneficial to you both mentally, physically, and spiritually, such as working out, fasting, reading books, meditating, etc. Self-improvement is the process of replacing all bad habits as much as possible, since we're not perfect, with good habits. An example of a routine that has bad habits could be this: waking up in the afternoon, spending the first couple of hours of waking up scrolling on your phone, eating an unhealthy breakfast, spending the rest of the day playing video games, eating more junk food, indulging in more addictions, going to bed late, and doom scrolling on social media right before bed. A good habit routine would look like this: waking up super early, fasting the entire morning, meditating, doing deep work for the entire morning, or just being productive and getting a lot of things done, going for a run, going to the gym, eating a healthy meal for lunch or dinner, doing some more work, spending time with family in a healthy way, reading a book before bed, going to bed early. So the process of going from a bad habit routine to the good habit routine takes a lot of patience, consistency, and hard work. There are different ways to approach this process, and I personally went through them, so I'll share my experience and what I learned. So the first method is called the cold turkey method. This is doing something that you've never done in an all-in approach, going into it gun-ho, instead of easing your way into doing something new and making that thing consistent in your day-to-day life. Which is the second method, the baby step method, which is what I just said, slowly implementing steps to do the good habit so that you can do it every day. So with the cold turkey method, it has a higher chance of you not being consistent because it requires you to be dedicated to too many good habits that require a certain amount of discipline and willpower, and that tends to be overwhelming. Mind you, the principle of hard work is putting yourself through discomfort, which brings you discipline and willpower to help you be consistent with more hard work. So yes, there is a chance that the cold turkey method could work, but for some people, such as myself, taking baby steps is the more probable way of reaching my goals. Baby steps allow you to implement the lifestyle that you desire, such as the good habit routine lifestyle, without overwhelming yourself and preventing you from losing motivation when you fail from doing the cold turkey method. In the cold turkey method, with the likeness of failing being so high, if you do fail, that could demotivate you, causing you to stay stuck in your ways even more because you don't want to attempt that change of stopping the bad habit. So I'll give you an example. Let's say I want to start reading a book. The cold turkey method for that would be reading the entire, or forcing myself to read the entire book, or more that I could handle. And the baby step method would be to see what I'm able to do. Let's say I start with one page before bed. So the first night I start with one page, and then slowly implement more pages of reading every night. So I'll increase the number of pages I read every night before bed. So then that way, eventually, I'll get to the point where I'm used to reading a lot of pages, and I'm able to read the book. So an example of implementing the baby step method would be this. Let's choose a bad habit. Let's have sleeping in and being unproductive as that habit. Let's say you sleep in at 12 p.m., noon every day, and you want to build a habit of waking up earlier so that you can be more productive and whatever. Deciding to suddenly wake up super early for like maybe 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. is too drastic and will be too hard for you to remain awake during the day. Also, since you're sleeping in so late, you're probably falling asleep very late each night. So you'll be getting poor quality of sleep with little amounts of it too if you try to wake up early, such as 4 a.m., making it harder for you to get out of that habit. Now, plain and simple, the baby step method is to slowly wake up a bit earlier each day. So instead of waking up at 12 or whatever time you wake up, you start waking up an hour earlier. So let's say you wake up at 12, the next day you put your alarm for 11 a.m. And then the next day you put your alarm for 10 a.m. and then 9 a.m. and then so on and so forth until you reach the desired time that you want to stay waking up every day, allowing you to be productive and getting things done in the morning. And once you get there, you'll have the discipline and willpower to maintain that consistency since you forced yourself to do something that was hard. So mind you, in this example, when you're slowly waking up earlier, you also have to be consistent enough to fall asleep earlier every day too. This won't work in the long run if you keep sleeping late at the same time and forcing yourself to wake up early, because eventually you'll relapse and just fall back into that same habit of sleeping in every day. So for me, after living a similar routine of what we mentioned before with sleeping in and being lazy, I decided to make an attempt to change that with the cold turkey method. There was one day where I decided that I was going to wake up at around like 5 a.m. and go for a run. And then after my run, I was going to spend the entire morning doing deep work on my computer and being productive. So understand, I went from sleeping in constantly, having a poor diet, not being productive, to wanting to do the complete opposite from that, which has good intentions, but a poor approach. So I set my alarm for 5 a.m. and surprisingly, I actually managed to get up and go for the run. And during my run, I immediately tired myself out due to the lack of my physical activity during the time, which is another example of not building your way to achieve something. And then I got home after my run, and I was happy for the moment that I accomplished that, but I unfortunately gave into the temptation of crawling back into my bed. I was winded from the run, and I was also really tired from the poor quality of sleep. Just as we mentioned before, I'm sleeping in late, therefore waking up late, so me waking up at 5 a.m., I fell asleep late and woke up early, so that gives me little amount of sleep. And I have gotten such poor sleep that I didn't have the energy to stay up, as well as I didn't have the discipline and willpower to endure the discomfort of being tired and forcing myself to do work even though I'm tired. The reason why the cold turkey method didn't work for me was because even though I failed, I never went and tried it again. I continued to live my life doing the bad habits of being lazy and unproductive and sleeping in. In that example that I just gave of what I went through, the cold turkey method could have worked if, even though I failed, I attempted the same thing again the next day, whether it be the full extent of waking up again at 5 a.m., going for the run and trying to go on my computer, or half of that. Because I didn't attempt it again, I failed. So even if I did part of that, that would have been great for my progress, but as I just said, that wasn't the case. How the baby step method could have helped me in that example is the exact same thing as I mentioned before with slowly waking up early, but also slowly start implementing more physical activity so that if I do go for a run, I'm not tired, so I could slowly start doing speed walking or light jogging, getting rid of distractions so that I'm able to work longer periods on my computer or whatever that I'm working on. And so that if I were following this method and if I were to mess up, let's say accidentally sleeping in, I would be able to go back on track. I would be able to go back into the routine of waking up early, since this is not an overwhelming experience, and also because I'll have the discipline and willpower and motivation to do better. If you look at it like this, we did not wake up one day and say to ourselves, I'm going to live a life of bad habits and pleasure. No, throughout our lives, we are actually slowly introduced into these bad habits that we end up being consistent with with our day-to-day lives without even realizing it. The reason for this is because of what I mentioned before, with bad habits being so easy to do and with them being bringing pleasure, we subconsciously start implementing those things every day in our life. And once we do become aware of those bad habits due to their nature of again being bringing pleasure, we become addicted to those very things, making it harder to get out of them. So why not approach doing good habits in the same way, by slowly implementing them in our day-to-day lives to build the habit of being consistent with what's good for you. Another thing to remember is that when being consistent with something, if you fall off track even once, do not have this mentality of, oh, because I failed, all my progress is ruined because of one mistake. That is something people do a lot when they're trying to make change. The second that they mess up, they give up. It's like telling a fat guy, if you miss one day of the gym, all your progress is ruined and you're going to be fat forever and you're going to get fatter. Many times when I was fasting and eating cleaner to lose weight, there were days where I gave into the temptation of eating something that was unhealthy or breaking my fast. And I had this mentality of, since I messed up, my progress is ruined, and I'll just continue to mess up even more since I don't have to try anymore. Just because you messed up once doesn't mean you can just give up and choose comfort over discomfort. So yeah, this is the beginner's guide to self-improvement using the baby step method and understanding that with the cold turkey method, as well as understanding the principle of good habits and bad habits. Bad habits are easy for you, but not good for you. Good habits are good for you, but are hard to do and require discipline and willpower. Using the baby step method is something that I believe will help you build the discipline and willpower that you need to start making even more better changes in your life. You have to start somewhere, so why not start small? And yeah, that's it for the video. If you made it this far, thank you so much for watching. I hope this video helped you. Leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Thank you.